that all men have inalienable rights to think freely, to talk freely, to write freely their own opinions, and to counter or utter or write upon the opinions of others.
This is from the Creed of the Church of Scientology.
Now, just something that made me laugh a little. You were like, "Yeah, it's a big deal. Wow, 1,200 people." Did that strike any kind of cognitive dissonance at all at that point? Because you were like, 1,200 people is a big deal when we're supposed to have millions around the world.
Oh, sure. Yeah. No, we were all pretty clued in on the fact that there were not millions and millions of Scientologists actively attending services. I had known that for quite some time. I could actually have told you on a weekly basis when I was in Scientology management for West US exactly how many people were doing Scientology services, church by church, org by org, across the West US. And West US was the largest delivery, of Scientology in the world, the West United States orgs, the PAC base, and some of the other West US churches are some of the largest in Scientology. So we knew it wasn't like that, you know. Um, I always thought of those numbers as book buyers or people who were out there who had partaken in services in the past, maybe deceased or moved on or whatever. I never had the idea when I was in that there were millions and millions of people. And it really actually surprised me a little bit. Not totally out of nowhere. You hear the numbers, but they kind of go in and out, at least they did for me. And when I got out of Scientology and I heard Kirstie Alley talking about 11 million members, I couldn't stop laughing. I mean, I was like, what are you, she's tweeting about this. And it's like, what are you talking about? And then you come to realize as an ex-member where the inflated numbers actually started coming from and when and how this works. And, when I was in, I wasn't really paying a whole lot of attention to what we were saying we had that we didn't have. My attention was on, well, if we don't have millions of members, that's the problem. So you better get to work, right? It wasn't a point of, hey, wait a minute, we're not saying, it was none of that was going to fly in that environment.
So it made your work all the more, quote unquote, worthwhile, in your opinion.
Yeah, I suppose so. I was so locked in all the time to just get the stats up. And it becomes this personal survival point after a while where you're really not thinking big picture, except when you go to the events where David Miscavige is briefing and talking at a rapid fire, pace, giving number after number after number after number. And he's just tack, 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 all through this stuff. And you're getting deluged with information that is creating an impression that Scientology is expanding like crazy in certain places or, wherever you aren't. And I never really caught that trick when I was in. It took a while. I did eventually get it, but it took many, many years for me to realize all the expansion news was always happening way over there. It was never right here. We never experienced any of that, but it was always so exciting what those guys were experiencing. And this was just event after event after event, year after year after year. So, but my attention was so laser focused on my own personal survival and just trying to get by and just trying to get my stats up that I didn't really think big picture as often as you might think.